Hello everyone, welcome back to Pokepaint, the series where I draw new Pokemon to inhabit my fan-made Pokemon region based on the US and British Virgin Islands, Tropore. It's been how many weeks? But we're back. Since last episode we reached 2,000 subscribers on the channel, so that's pretty cool. The last Pokepaint did super well and quickly became one of my most viewed videos of all time at this point, so that's awesome. January ended up being a difficult month to produce videos in this year, hence the large delay between content. That wasn't entirely an accident though, at least in the world of Pokepaint. The month-long gap was kind of entirely purposeful. I'm sure most of you know that I held a Fakemon drawing contest over on my Discord throughout the month of January. A contest where you viewers of the channel could draw your own Fakemon designs intended for the Tropore region. So today, along with creating a second Elite Four trainer for the region, I will be showing off and redrawing in my style the Pokepaint 2023 contest winners. So I got way more submissions from you all than I ever expected to. Like multiple a day. It was honestly awesome. I absolutely loved seeing every submission come in, and I actually made it a habit towards the end of the month to look at every day's submissions while winding down before bed at night. So, more than I thought I would, I'm actually sad that it's over. Transversely, I'm really excited to reveal my choices. On top of that, I'm actually breaking my own rules here. I originally said that I would only be choosing 3 to redraw, however, it became readily apparent to me that I couldn't choose such a small amount. Like, I tried. It was impossible. Each submission is absolutely excellent, and I'm not just saying that to be nice. Every single one was super well thought out and drawn up. Even cooler was getting to see Troporean-themed designs that I'd never come up with on my own. So, I'm breaking my own rules, and I'm not picking 3. Instead, I'm picking 5 Pokemon today. So, with no further ado, my first of 5 picks today goes to Scorod and Arachor by Monster Asylum on Discord. This 2-stage line was done on pencil and paper and combines a whip scorpion with a fishing rod, a combination that I would have never thought up to begin with, but was done with in such an interesting way to feel like a real Pokemon. Not only that, their individual behaviors and place in the ecosystem was detailed in its Dex entry that just made this idea so much more interesting. Scorod is the first form, and I think it's absolutely adorable. Monster Asylum suggested that I come up with the color palette since they drew a black and white version, and honestly, I don't know if mine does the original version justice. Either way, the cute but also a little scary design that comes from the original was thankfully able to fully translate into the Troporean art style. I really like this first form, and can fully imagine one perched under like a wooden dock like real fishing spiders, waiting for lone Wishy-Washy to swim by. That image alone may have honestly been a huge contributor to why I picked it. Scorod, the fishing hook Pokemon. Scorod live near fishing docks, stretching their tails into the water. They can stretch their tail to any length, and at the end of their tail is a hook with a poison to pacify any fish Pokemon that takes a bite. Arachor, which I don't actually know if I'm saying right, I love as much, if not more, than Scorod. Taking a similar looking, related object to something like a fishing hook that has an entirely different function is not only a cool concept to bring into a Fakemon design, but is also something that the Pokemon Company regularly does with their own designs. So the next step from a fishing hook is an anchor. This Fakemon is not only excellently conceptualized, but drawn in the original in an absolutely perfect way. And simplifying the body of a whip scorpion and implementing the anchor imagery in a functional-looking way only adds to how well conceived this idea was. Awesome job. Arachor, the anchor scorpion Pokemon. Arachor are very sturdy and do not like to be pushed around. They have a very strong metal exoskeleton that cannot be penetrated. The anchor at the end of their tail can stretch out and is known to drag boats down into the sea. My second pick of the day is Pearlesnt and Royallusc by UMA16 on Reddit. Pearlesnt and Royallusc, as they said, are based on queen conches, a type of large mollusk that lives in the Caribbean. And this Pokemon is actually an example of the second time that I broke my own rules. I made myself wait until the end of the contest to pick my winners, as I wanted everyone to have a fair shot. And no, I didn't draw this one until after the 31st, but the moment I saw it, I kind of knew I had to draw it. I mean, look at how cute it is. My first thought when I saw it myself was I would buy a plushie of this little guy. I just want to squeeze him. There was also apparently a food theme that UMA 16 mentioned in their prompts. However, I'm unsure if Pearlescent's resemblance to a whoopie pie is intended or not. However, I love it either way. There is also what appeared to be this slight iridescence to the central pearl in the original drawing, which is a really nice touch as it resembles actual pearls. I think by shifting the color of the pearl slightly towards the pink and giving the shadows a bluer than usual color, I was able to mimic the original quite well. Pearlesnt, the peasant mollusk Pokemon. Pearlescents enjoy gathering on the beaches to exchange their pearls for various items. Most of these pearls come from Royallusc, who give them as a reward for working extra hours. I absolutely love the implied feudalistic economy that UMA 16 wrote in, as not only does it perfectly fit with the royal theme, as that's how most medieval kingdoms functioned, but also mirrors how more intelligent animals are known to form simple economic webs of trade and service in real life. Royallusc was a super interesting design and actually has two versions that it would evolve into based on whether or not it was male or female. I think these are absolutely adorable, and I love all of the little themes that were implemented in these designs. I love how not only do they look like chess pieces, further leaning into the medieval royalty theme, they also resemble fancy layered cakes and decorative ball gowns. These themes both add to the original concept while seamlessly making the evolution more visually interesting. Awesome work all around. Royallusc, the royal mollusk Pokemon. Each group of Pearlescent has two Royalluscs as their leaders. The job of Royallusc is to provide food, shelter, and work for their people. Some do it better than others. Our third set of designs comes from Gorfia on Discord, and it is a regional form of Meowth and its evolutions. As they explained, this regional form would be a form found in Paleo Park, my prehistoric Jurassic Park style safari zone, and would be based on a saber-toothed cat. I love this almost reverse idea of making a Neolithic style redesign of a still living Pokemon, as opposed to an extinct one. And although I don't have any others like it, I still loved to add such a unique design to Tropore. In Gorfia's recreation of Meowth, not too much changes from the original. The coin is replaced with a yellow splotch mark and the color palette shifts to orange to no doubt fit closer into its evolutionary line. Its protruding canine tooth is added, for the whole saber-tooth thing, but it also possibly alludes to the stone-agedness of this Pokemon's design. Quite honestly, I really love Gorfia's version better than my own. They seem to have a far better eye for shape design than I do, and you can not only see that in the shape of its individual paws, but also with the sort of overall tubbiness of the body. There is just a far more concise and well-balanced design in their version. Meowth, the wild cat Pokemon. This species arrived on the island by human travelers in ancient times. In such a dangerous environment, it adopted a wild attitude. Their regional Persian acts as a middle transitional stage rather than a final form, and quite honestly, this was an excellent choice. Persian in its original form is honestly a little bland, and it's far better suited for a middle evolution. The lion-like mane, even though not carried all the way through to the end, still gives it a wild flair, on top of which it adds a splash of red, which will be found in its final form. Its bigger claws and longer fangs, with the shorter tooth finally appearing from its upper lip, serves the same purpose, to set up for the final form. I believe that the psychic type is because of the gem on its head that it gets here, and what it's said to be able to do with it in the Pokedex, but either way, I definitely needed more psychic types, so that works out. Pearlesnt, the sharp Pokemon in the evolved form of Meowth. It communicates with its tribe using the stone on its forehead. Despite having been on the island for thousands of years, its teeth show an incomplete evolution. So the final form is Clableye, also not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, and it can be achieved by giving a male Pearlesnt an obsidian claw item, and as such it gains the steel type. I love this new evolution of Pearlesnt. It's honestly my favorite of the three. The red with the stripes gives it a more aggressive and dangerous animalistic feel, and the winking eye gives it a devilishly cunning look. It looks like a smart predator that you would not want to run into in the woods. The whole design makes me actually wish that regular Cantonian Meowth and Pearlesnt evolved into a Kanto version of Clableye, as honestly, it's so much cooler than Pearlesnt. Speaking of the name, Clableye, I still haven't quite sussed out the etymology of the name, but Gorfia, if you're watching, comment and let us know what the meaning is, or if it was just cool sounding. Clableye, the Saber Pokemon in the evolved form of Pearlesnt. With the stone on its forehead, it is able to predict the movements of its target. Hunting large prey with its giant teeth and claws, wild specimens have tribes of more than 10 individuals that win their territory in fights. This penultimate entry was one of the later ones, and like Pearlesnt before it, I sort of knew that I had to do it once I saw it, for similar reasons. And that is Squoil by Endrew on Discord. Not only do I think it's absolutely adorable, which it is, the classic pen and paper art submission submitted by Endrew evokes the classic Pokemon concept art page, with not only a still sketch of the Pokemon, but with a sketch of it acting as it would in its natural habitat, which really scratches my concept art itch, so I absolutely love it. So the concept here is that Squoil uses the drill on top of its head to drill into the sea floor in search of crude oil that it consumes and uses later as an ink attack, which is just a super unique concept. It wasn't specifically stated, but just due to the similarities, I feel like this Pokemon might be sort of loosely inspired by the unnamed squid species that was found by an underwater oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico. But that's just my theory. A game theory. Andrew, if you're watching, you'll have to let me know if I'm right. Squoil, the drill squid Pokemon. Squoil live in the deepest parts of the ocean. With their drill, they mine petroleum and oil in the water and suck up the oil for later use in their special attack Oil Spit. Squoil are loner Pokemon, and if two meet, undersea earthquakes will result from their fighting. They are not easy to train and not recommended for a beginner trainer. Alright, we only have one entry left, and now for our final pick of the video, which is, drumroll please, Kakadoodrado by Noodles on YouTube. Noodles took inspiration from Jamaican folklore, which you know I love, with the Virgin Islands, the place that Tropore is based on, being in that exact part of the world. The legend is that of the Caribbean crowing snake. It's a cryptid sort of monster that has the body of a serpent and the head of a rooster. And they made this just absolutely bizarre looking and awesome design. Not only that, they also drew it in a pixel art style, which makes it look really, really appealing. And I honestly just love how proportioned and, well, bizarre this Pokemon is. I can't really explain why, but it's right up my alley. Another reason why I chose Kakadoodrado is a similar reason to why I chose Squoil. Not only do we get better evolution diversity with this Pokemon, but we get to add another mon that I love, and I otherwise would not have come up with on my own. Of course, my goal with all of these was not to redesign each one, but simply to draw it in my style. Even with that said, it was, for some reason, particularly hard for me to get the original shape down. That's definitely a compliment, though, don't get me wrong. I love this Pokemon, like, a lot. If the Tropore region was a mainline Pokemon game, I'd definitely go out of my way to search for it and get it on my team. It's supposed to be a super rare find, according to the Pokedex page, and that rarity, along with the strange shape makes me think of Dunsparce, but like a cool chicken dragon Dunsparce. Kakadoodrado, the rooster snake Pokemon. A somewhat hideous Pokemon notorious for its strange call. They are quite a rare sight and were considered nothing but a mere cryptid for quite some time. So there are our 5 evolutionary lines, 10 Mons in total that we get to add to the Pokedex this week. But to those of you observant ones, you may have found something strange about the Pokedex. We still have a lot more space, beyond that of which will be filled up by our 2 legendaries. Well, that's because I sorta lied again. Sort of. See, I originally had an honorable mentions section before Kakadoodrado that I cut out, where I looked back at the entries that didn't make it in, and shouted out some honorable mentions. And as I looked back, I realized that there were 3 more designs that I totally regret not including in Tropore's Pokedex. So next time, I will be adding 3 more winners to the Pokedex, accompanied by 2 bonus Troporean designs of my own that I came up with during the month of January, and just couldn't leave out. I'm sure it's not a disappointment that I'm picking more winners, but I just wouldn't feel satisfied if I didn't do them. I hope you're all excited for the next video, but it's not me that you have to thank, it's yourselves. This contest was entirely commenter suggested, and I'd never planned to do one in the first place. On top of that, you guys blew my mind with how many amazing designs you made. The skill, hard work, and dare I say it because I hate this word, talent, is really apparent in all of these drawings. So thank you all so much for an excellent contest. You all should be so proud of yourselves. Alright, not only are we not done with the contest yet, but we are not done with the video. We still have our second of the Elite Four members to draw. Our next Elite Four member is the attack-heavy grass-type member, and the first design idea that I came up with for my Elite Four. The name Faramir is actually not a name which has roots in the real world, but a J.R.R. Tolkien name from The Lord of the Rings. I chose it because Faramir, well, sounds like farmer, which is a fitting pun for the design idea that I came up with. My concept for this character may have been the strongest one of them all. For Faramir, I had this idea of a super strong dude that looks like he could, and fully has the ability to, kick your ass, but is really quite gentle in real life, since he's a florist/gardener, and in working with plants he'd have to be both gentle and patient. So he sort of has this gentle giant thing going on. His hair is sculpted to look like one of those square topiary shrubs, which relates back to his gardener theme. So now we have half of our Elite Four members down, Steel and Grass. Now we just have Poison and Ice to go. But our next Elite Four member, along with the rest of the submissions, we will have to leave for another video. It could probably have been told by my slow production schedule, but January was kind of a tough month for me. I was really sick multiple times, and the power went out for half a week in the ice storm in New Hampshire, where I live. On top of that, my big History of the Future timeline video was a lot of work, and the original version was corrupted halfway through, further delaying it even more. The whole month was just an absolute mess. But all throughout the month, I was motivated and made excited again and again by your awesome contest entries. So thank you all so much for not only your above and beyond participation, but your continued love and support. It means the world. And so as always, if you like this video and want to see more like it, then subscribe and turn on the bell to get notified when I upload next.